Yo, listen up. I need y'all to stop what y'all doing and go to Thefora.com and get that new book by Lakey the Kid through Fora. And while you at it, cop some merch too.
Mixtapes and DVDs is my era.
Facts.
We did it better.
Yep.
Pelly leathers,
Facts.
ACG boots. We 80s babies and early 90s when it got grimy.
real.
I was out of this world, you could not find me unless you check the lobby. Hustling was my hobby. We was lobby boys
Yep.
before Jim Jones. You could catch me in Harlem eating Jimbos.
Now, people getting their face cut in New York became very popular in the 90s, known in the streets as getting sliced, slashed, or $1.50, which referred to the amount of stitches you got after being cut. Now, most of the time when a person got their face cut, it would be with a Gem Star blade, where most people hid under their tongue at the time, or a box cutter. Now, it's said the whole face cutting era became a thing because of the rise of the Bloods in jail and in the streets in the early 90s, 1993 to be exact. Now, in this video, I'm going to get into two hip-hop stars who was victims of being cut in their face, Remy and Shyheim the Rugged Child. Here's their story. Now, Shyheim the Rugged Child is a rapper out of Staten Island, New York, who's known to have a close affiliation with the Wu-Tang Clan. In 1994, Shyheim dropped his debut album for Shyheim, aka the Rugged Child, under Virgin Records, with singles for On and On, Pass It Off, and Ones for the Money. The same year Shyheim album was released, he will be also featured on his mentor Big Daddy Kane's sixth album, Daddy's Home, on a single Show and Prove, with featured Source Money, Jay-Z, and R0BBED. Now, a year later in 1995, Shyheim would do a legendary freestyle at Madison Square Garden along with Big Daddy Kane, Biggie, and Tupac, the same year when Shyheim was featured in TLC Waterfall video. In May 1996, Shyheim released his sophomore album For the Lost Generation, which featured artists such as Smooth the Hustler, Trigger the Gambler, Killer Sin, and Raekwon, and he also made his movie debut in Original Gangsters. Shyheim would go on and act and play in movies such as The Preacher's Wife, In Too Deep, and Robert Townsend's show, The Parenthood. Now, after Shyheim dropped his Lost Generation album and became somewhat a successful actor, Shyheim will find himself in a situation he might not made it out of. Now, in 1997, Shyheim will be in a club in Staten Island and thousands of dollars worth of jewelry, where he was attacked and robbed by several guys, where he got his face cut with a box cutter, leaving him to get 350 stitches.
I'm wearing $100,000 worth of jewelry, money in my pocket. I definitely think jewelry and things of that was the spark of it.
Now, one of the guys who were involved with the attack on Shyheim actually got to sit down with him, and these two spoke and put their differences and beef aside, and they still speak to this day. Now, after Shyheim went through the whole cutting situation, it seems like his acting and rapping career took a turn for the worse, even though he still managed to get a role in the In Too Deep movie with LL Cool J and Omar Epps, and release his album for Man-Child in 1999. Now, the Man-Child album had singles for Man-Child and featured artists like Big L, Method Man, and Ray J. Now, around this time, it seemed like Shyheim was no longer just a young kid rapper rapping about situations he was seeing in his neighborhood, and he actually started to live the life that he was rapping about. Because not too long after releasing his Man-Child album, Shyheim will be arrested for robbery. On July 2002, Shyheim was sentenced to a year in prison after catching a second-degree attempt robbery charge. On November 4th, 2003, Shyheim was released from prison. Shyheim came home in the DVD era and got back on his grind, pushing his music, and put out his fourth album For the Greatest Story Never Told under Bottom Up Records. And he also dropped his Disrespectfully Speaking album in 2009. But that wouldn't be the end of Shyheim legal issues. In 2013, Shyheim house was raided and the cops found guns and drugs. A .32 revolver, Xanax pills on his nightstand, a scale, and plastic bags. Shyheim was charged with second-degree criminal possession of a weapon and third-degree criminal possession of a controlled substance. Now, while being home after being released on those charges on New Year's 2014, Shyheim was speeding and ran a red light and crashed into Felipe Avila car. Shyheim fled the scene where Felipe was pronounced dead. Shyheim would then turn himself in, and that same year he pled guilty to second-degree manslaughter and was sentenced to 14 years in prison, where he served his manslaughter and gun and drug charges concurrent. But he will be released from prison in 2020. Shyheim is currently home, alive, and well, and seems to be living his life on a more positive and righteous path, following his religion and beliefs. Now, in the whole situation, I feel like Shyheim definitely got a second shot at life, being charged with manslaughter, guns, and drug charges. He definitely could have got a lot more time, you get what I'm saying? And I also feel like Shyheim should be celebrated a little more because he's very legendary. A kid rapper that was running with Wu-Tang Clan when Wu-Tang Clan was the hottest thing in the industry. I really feel like his situation, his story is really dope. Now, Remy Ma is a female rapper from the Bronx, New York. Remy Ma hit the hip-hop scene in 2000 on Big Pun's R0BBED album. She was featured on a song called Miss Martin, where Big Pun did the hook, and Remy Martin at the time displayed her lyrical ability. She was also featured on a song called You Was Wrong with Fat Joe and Drag On. Remy Ma will also get a lot of recognition after appearing on the remix to M.O.P's hit record, Annie Up. Remy's verse will become a classic, which she still performs to this day, and some even say she had the best verse on the song. Now, in 2006, Remy would drop her debut album for There's Something About Remy after being featured on Fat Joe's smash hit, Lean Back off the Terror Squad album, True Story. Remy will put out singles for Whatever, Conceited, and Feel So Good featuring Neo. Even though Remy felt her album had lack of promotion, Remy still managed to sell 35,000 her first week, peaking at number 33 on the Billboard Top 200 chart. The following year, after Remy dropped her debut album, she'll find herself in some trouble with the law. Now, Remy was arrested for shooting her friend in the stomach during a dispute over some missing money. Remy accused her friend Makita Barnes Joseph of stealing $3,000 from her, and after an altercation, Makita was left with a single shot to her torso. Now, although security tapes from inside the club show no evidence of any altercations or arguments, Remy was still charged with attempted murder, assault, and criminal possession of a weapon, which Remy pled not guilty to. Remy was later charged with witness tampering and assault after Remy was accused of having several of her male friends attack Makita's boyfriend and leaving him with a broken jaw. Remy would be convicted for her charges and sentenced to 8 years in prison. Now, before Remy Ma put out her Jesus Christ mixtape, before Remy Ma put out her diss record to Nicki Minaj called Sheetha, before Remy and Fat Joe put out their hit single to All the Way Up, Remy will find herself in some trouble she might not made it out of. Now, lately it's been a lot of questioning about the scar over Remy Ma's lip. Now, supposedly Remy Ma was lined up and cut in her face by a guy.
They lied me. They was mad jealousy, and I ended up getting cut in the face by a guy.
Now, supposedly Remy Ma got lined up in front of her apartment door by some guys, and one of the guys cut her face. Now, there's another story going around saying she actually was jumped by these guys in front of her apartment door, and one of the guys that was jumping her cut her face. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I do remember Remy Ma speaking about this situation on a mixtape DVD in the DVD era, but it happened so long ago it's kind of hard to pull up any of this footage on the internet. But nevertheless, no matter how the story really go, a dude cutting a female in her face is totally out of line, so the whole situation is definitely foul. Now, before Remy Ma went to jail, her and Fat Joe have their back and forth and have differences, but after she came home from jail, they got back to it and squashed their beef. Remy seems like she's in a better space and more positive, and she's currently doing her thing in battle rap with the Chrome 23 Battle Rap League. And you know, Remy Ma to me always was a dope female rapper, even though she don't make as much music now and she haven't really put any music out in a while. But I still thought she was dope, especially on that Big Pun first album. When I got introduced to her, I was like, yo, Remy is a problem. She said, I'm trouble. Shoot out the air bubble in your sneakers. Just real good times. But anyway, if you're a fan of these old hip-hop stories, tell a friend about my page. Like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. More content coming, and I'm out. 1.